This is the Bringing Business to Retail podcast, and today we're talking with the gorgeous Alita Harvey-Rodriguez all about applied creativity, what it is, and how you can implement it in your business. Welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast, where I, Selena Knight, share strategies, interview retail revolutionaries, and delve into the minds of e-commerce experts to help you grow a profitable, independent retail or e-commerce business. If you're stuck in a rut, or if you feel like business is way harder than it should be, or you've overachieved all of the things that you've set out to and are wondering what to do next, or how do I even make this better, I know that you're going to love today's episode. If you're stuck in a rut, feel like business is way harder than it should be, or you've achieved all of the things that you set out to and are wondering what next, or how do I even make this better, then I know that you're going to love today's episode. Hey there, welcome to today's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. Now you're probably thinking that today's podcast is going to be another COVID-19 related episode, but you know what? I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit tired of it. We can't escape it right now. We are all literally in the same boat. So we don't need to talk about it because everybody else is talking about it. So today's episode has literally no reference to what's happening in the economy and in the world right now. But what it does have is a whole bunch of mind-blowing and slap your head in the forehead, oh my God, why have I not done that before now moments. And I feel like that's what we need right now. We need something different, an injection of spice, an injection of humor and confidence and simple things that we can do right now that will literally change our businesses. And I'll tell you what, when Alita and I get together, we have loads of fun. So last time we met up, I whipped out my phone and I started recording this episode because Alita always drops some amazing knowledge bombs and we laugh a lot together. So before we jump into this episode, which is going to have you smiling, because how can you not smile when two people are having so much fun and laughing and just really enjoying a conversation? But before we jump in, I wanted to let you know that if you are feeling a little bit overwhelmed and not quite sure of where you should be putting your time and energy and resources in your business right now, I'm holding a free masterclass next week. So it's going to be on Wednesday, Sydney time. So that's Tuesday for you guys in the US. If you head over to selenaknight.com/focus, you can grab your free spot. And in that masterclass, I'm going to be going through how you can actually set yourself up for success, even though right now it feels like a total poop storm. But in all honesty, guys, what I'm seeing right now is the businesses who really had a clear focus on their business have been able to change the way they're implementing things, but not necessarily losing focus of what they wanted to achieve for this quarter. So in this free training, I'm going to step you out of overwhelm, step you out of constant firefighting, because that's an easy place for us to fall into. I'm going to make sure that you don't fall into the negativity vortex by giving you simple strategies that you can implement. You can take them away and put them in place so that you can map out a quarter, the next quarter, 90 days, where you actually get results, where you get stuff done. And that is going to be free. And like I said, if you head over to selenaknight.com/focus, I'll make sure I pop the link in the show notes. You can grab your free spot and make sure you turn up live, because if you have some questions about what you should be dealing with right now, what you should be putting your energy into right now, I'm going to be there live answering your questions. So it's not pre-recorded, 100% live. I've got a ton of people coming, so I hope that you can join me too. Now, I will just say that due to the software that we use, we are limited to 250 spots. So when I last looked, we already were probably halfway there in terms of registrations. So make sure that you head over and grab your spot over at selenaknight.com/focus and make sure that you turn up live so that you can actually make some limoncello when life gives you lemons. I'm not about the lemonade. I'm more about the limoncello. Okay, let's hop into today's episode with Alita Harvey-Rodriguez, all about how to put applied creativity into place in your retail or e-commerce business. So we are here at Inside Retail Live, and I wanted to grab my friend Alita because, you know, when you meet somebody and you think, oh my God, that person is totally amazing and I'm a little bit intimidated, but then you meet them and they are awesome and you just want to hang out with them. That is Alita. But Alita's also super smart, which is why I've got her on the show today, and she's going to talk to you about...
I'm going to talk about digital marketing, customer experience, and my favourite thing that ties all of them together, which is applied creativity.
And she said that to me, and I felt really, really silly. And I said to her, I don't even know what that is. But when she explained it, we all know what that is. She's not in the habit of making you feel dumb. She's just super smart. So, Alita, tell us what you do.
Okay, so I am the founder and managing director of a company called MI Academy. We do customized digital marketing and customer experience training, but it's transformative training. So it's training that's going to transform the entire business, give you the skills in-house that you really need. And also, if you're not going to use those skills in-house, it also gives you the power to direct your agencies much better. Yes, which is, I mean, coming from that background, you must, you know,
and
it's hard to have conversations sometimes.
It is really hard because, and I see this, we don't do SEO, but I see this so much in the SEO industry and also in social media marketing, where people are social media marketers, but they've never actually done anything and they don't understand stats or analytics, but you have a budget and this person fits in your budget, so you think that you will just hire them. But in the back end, and this is something we found with our ads clients, is they actually don't know what they're getting and they don't even know what to measure against.
And the expectations are so not aligned or not real, because it's like, oh, well, you just put up a Facebook post. Doesn't that take 2 seconds? Can't you just do that? And it's like, hang on, you need to think about it. We want to read the analytics. We want to know all of this stuff. And it doesn't take, 5 minutes to do a post. It can take sometimes hours to do a great post that's going to have really good impact.
Yeah. And I see, especially with reporting, things, not that we're talking about reporting, but things like companies giving impressions, and I'm like, impressions don't mean anything. Impressions just mean we spent your money.
Oh, goodness me. This is, it's a perfect example of why I actually went into the training game. I've worked in agencies, I've worked for retailers, and I have worked for software companies, and one of my first clients when I first started was... They're a massive tool retailer, and I said, show us what you've got. What have you got going on? Because we were going to do really specific some loyalty stuff. And I had a look at where they were spending their budget, and there was $4,000 a week going towards YouTube. And I looked in the analytics, and I'm like, you don't have any conversions from that $4,000 a week. And they're like, no, but look at how many impressions we've got. The agency's telling us we've got all these impressions and everything looks fantastic. And I'm like, but if you don't have $1, then I don't care how many impressions you've got.
And understandably, you have different campaigns for different things.
Right.
But generally speaking, on the surface, we need sales to come out of it.
Yeah.
And if unless you have an actual impressions campaign for a reason, most companies don't need an impressions campaign.
Especially small companies do not have the budget just for an impression campaign. But I mean, you do need to have this divine mix between sales and brand as part of your entire mix. You've got to build that awareness. You've got to build that brand awareness. And especially, brand is becoming so much more important with the activation of voice search and things like that. You've got to have a divine mix. And if you can be creative enough to come up with an idea that's going to do both of those, then you're in a good place.
And the thing about having the idea is it doesn't mean you have to implement the idea, right? You can outsource that kind of stuff. And I think this is where you come in really well, is you can either help people with the ideas part or you can help them with the implementation part.
100%.
And you don't have to feel inferior because you can't think of the ideas, because maybe that's not your strong point, but maybe you're good at implementing and your team are good at implementing, or maybe you're good at the ideas but you just don't have the people on your team.
It's exactly what happens, and we see both sides of the fence. It's like my digital manager is really great, they want to step into a different role, but I don't know if they really get strategy. They're a good doer, but they need to be told, and it's like a lot of the time CMOs don't have that time to tell people what to do, so need to find a way to give people creative it's almost like I want to say creative boundaries, but there should be no boundary to creativity. But if you give people parameters and frameworks, you can teach creativity for anybody, and then you get applied creativity, which in its essence is innovation.
Right. So tell us more about that, because people are just like, oh, that sounds really awesome, but now what?
Yeah, okay. So look, there's always this conversation about innovation, and we're like looking.
It's a buzzword at every conference. Innovation is a buzzword.
And it's like I've been thinking about it for years, because I used to say we do innovation planning. It's like we do, but it's not that. We do incremental innovation, like these 1% changes that make massive changes to companies. But what was the essence behind that was the thing that really bothered me. I was like, innovation, people are thinking disruptors, they're thinking Airbnb, they're thinking, Uber, and they're like, how? And the question always at board tables is, how do we be the next blah blah? And it's like, how do you just be better than what you were yesterday by delivering to what your customers need? And I came down to the conclusion that what we actually do there is applied creativity. And what that means is taking a creative concept or an idea and actually implementing it into something that your customers can tell you whether they love or not, instead of just coming up with one idea that's going to suit everybody in total because one person came up with this one idea in a think tank somewhere down the line.
And there are usually no better ideas, so we go with that one.
Also not the target customer. Let's just start there.
Yeah.
So they're just like, I saw it somewhere, or this was a great idea, or, I dreamed it up. It's like, let's take that and let's divide it into 5 different chunks, run 5 different versions of what people actually might want, apply our creative genius into multiple prototypes, run them, see which one brings back money, and then let's scale.
We had, I've got a bit of a girl crush on Floss from Tile Cloud, and so we had Floss on the show, and what you're saying here is reminding me, if you haven't listened to that episode, go back and listen to it, because they disrupted the whole tile industry simply because they went, this isn't the way that customers should buy. Like, we just want to be able to buy some tiles that are online, but how do we get them to our house? Or we just want to be able to see what they look like in a pattern. Like, I don't want to look at one tile, I want to see that. And all the things that she was having problems with created a whole business, because when they implemented them, the customers came. The samples that they put out, like, nobody else would give you samples. You had to go to the tile shop, but they were shipping them.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
No, he's got time. And they disrupted the industry simply by taking the problem and putting that creativity in. And I'm sure not everything worked.
No, but they never do.
It never does.
Up, but that's why what are they calling it? The J curve of startups. It's like you have this idea, you build it, you figure out that that's crap, and then you've got to go, okay, wait, I need to change the model before I figure out how to scale it.
Yes, and that's, I think, why I was just talking to somebody in the lunch break about why I love working with independent brands is because they have that nimbleness to actually be able to do that without having to go through 18 months of hierarchy, and by then the moment's gone. Everybody else is doing it.
That's right. But I think that nimbleness, that everybody's talking about in big business, they're talking about this startup mentality, but often they do it in a really broken way. They're just like there's some really great examples where people are like, our innovation team is off-site and they're coming up with all the fancy ideas. It's like, well, hang on, how is everybody else evolving what they do? And that's the thing about that nimbleness or the agility, is that it's highly collaborative and everybody's talking to each other to come up with brilliant ideas to solve real problems, because that's what a business is. It is something that you will pay for to solve a damn problem.
Yes, and it doesn't matter if that problem is just making me look good or making my feet look amazing in these shoes that I'm wearing.
Which they do.
Yeah, and so do yours. So what are some things that you're seeing are working right now in retail and e-commerce?
Oh, such a good question. So, look, I think one of the biggest things that I'm seeing really work is this shift around acquisition into loyalty. We've hit like this peak of how much can you keep paying for your customers, but how much are we losing at the back end? I say it's like having a cup and with no bottom on it. It's like you keep filling it up, but it's actually not going anywhere. So this shift, something that's really going right, is a shift to people thinking about loyalty instead of just acquisition, having a really nice divine balance around that. Obviously, the impact that has on the brand is going to be better retention, better advocates of your existing customers.
Cheaper,
and your marketing spend impact is like, it grows enormously because your cost per sale declines.
Now, I did not prompt you on this, but funnily enough, we actually just did we have a retail collective, and we just did a module on that exact same thing.
Awesome. Perfect.
Which is, it was talking about how to get customers to spend more money and actually love you for it in the process.
Yeah.
And these people will spend more money with you, and we heard that at the speakers today, when they're totally on board with your brand and they don't feel like they're being sold to, and that you don't have to sell to them if they're already your customer. They already love you.
They already love you. Just give them more of what they want, and do it in a nice way.
So here's the big question. Why aren't people leveraging their existing customer databases?
It comes back to the mentality, I think, that it's definitely this. I don't want to spam people. Selena's just like looked off to the side and she's like, But it's right though, isn't it? How many times do you have that conversation? It's like, oh, we haven't sent more emails because we don't want to spam people.
It's the same reason I don't have a pop-up on my website, because they annoy me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
we have pop-ups on our website.
This is the innovation thing, is like one person coming up with an idea or saying, no, that's not going to work because I don't like it. It's like, hang on, bro, you are one human.
And you're not necessarily the customer.
And if you are, you're going to sit in a subsection of your customers that isn't everybody as well.
No. So one of the things I talked about yesterday was having that one ideal, like knowing who that ultimate customer is and making the thing for them, because the more you make it for them, the more it attracts like for like. And I have to think, I think about all the brands that I love, and I sign up to their newsletters because I want to know
You'll sign up to
the
ours,
stuff.
right?
Yes, I am actually. You have great ones. You have gifts and stuff. I don't have any of those things, and very good colours. But, I'm interested in the thing that you're selling. So why not send me? Like, I told you I'm interested. Emails are currency in today's day and age.
They are still the preferred channel for customer communications.
Yes.
That is the number one place where people want to hear from you. And guess what? The cost is like
nothing.
1/7 of a cent. It's nothing.
You pay for your email database and it's free after that.
It's free after that. And you're doing it, and you're paying for it whilst you're acquiring customers.
Yeah.
So make the most of it. I think one of the biggest blockages that happens there is that people are still in this spray and pray mentality. They're still spraying and praying. So if you are listening to this podcast and you are spraying and praying, which means loading up your whole database and hitting send and hoping for the best.
Hoping someone will buy something.
Yeah. You're doing your customers a disservice, and that's when it becomes spammy. We want to segment. We want to send elegant, beautiful emails that are talking to the customer based on what they purchased last time, what you think they would purchase next, or what sits in their existing product set that can really complement that outfit or those shoes or those tiles that you bought.
Yeah.
Think about that customer journey and segment from there.
And I think one of the things that, and I was just talking about this in the intro for the podcast that we did last week, is coming to events and just getting away from behind the screen and getting away from behind the shop floor just to get the inspiration. Because we think segmenting is hard, but in actual fact, we love Klaviyo for e-commerce, and a lot of this is inbuilt. Like, even if you can't be asked right now to do it, you can turn all the things on and then come back and personalize it.
Absolutely.
Why would you not?
Oh, it's exactly. I mean, so many systems have what I like to call built-in recipes.
Yes.
And they're so, just turn them on. They're going to make a bit of money, and then talk to somebody who's going to help you to make them better.
Yes.
Just grab that bit of cash that you can, because it's low-hanging fruit.
And I think when you were talking there about segmentation is why are people avoiding doing it? Like, it's a bit of time. It's not going to cost you anything, but you're going to sit down and you're going to look at your customers, and you get a lot of insight when you do it.
Yeah.
But why do you think people just avoid it? And this is everyone from your independent solopreneur right through to
enterprise.
We see multi-million dollar customers who have no segments.
Yep. I think it comes back to one is time. So people think that it's going to take time and distract from my business as usual because it's quite strategic. I think the other thing is knowledge. I think that people aren't confident enough that they're going to be able to write or pull together the right data rules in order to make a big impact. So, first things first is go to the system that you're using, use one of the great recipes, and then get yourself educated on what segments you should be looking at. What are the data habits that sit in that business business, buying habits, demographic details, and start to look deeper in there.
That's something you help people with, right?
Yeah, when I say talk to somebody, like talk to us. We can totally help you with those things. And the beautiful stuff about what we do is that we're not just going to teach you, we're going to help you to apply it into a project. So we call it application-based learning, where you actually learn this stuff and you apply it into a project in your business. And, Eric was just one of the speakers this morning, CEO of Paz Group. He was talking about the Starbucks 0 to 100. So in 100 days, they have something that's deployable.
Yes.
That's exactly what we'll do for you. And guess what? Eat at Starbucks, because we'll do it in 90.
Yes, we work in 90 days as well.
Yeah, we do it in 90 days. And it's like this really big thing for enterprise, but it's so doable for any size business. Yeah. And you can
make it a priority.
Absolutely, but you know what? You become accountable to the people you're working with, and we're going to sit there in the whips and we're going to be like, you're behind schedule.
Yeah.
We want to help, and then we're going to find out why you're behind schedule, and we're going to help you to speed up your execution and remove roadblocks.
And the funny thing is, especially for, let's call it sub $10 million businesses,
it's a pro.
That they...
No, I'm not entirely sure.
So one of the issues, I think one of the things that, let's call it sub $10 million businesses seem to feel like they have lots of is they feel like they don't have a lot of time, but they seem to put a lot of time into stuff that's not necessarily relevant. We call it busy work rather than productive work. Yeah. So why not take some of that time doing stuff that you probably really don't need to be doing actually go, eat the frog and go, this thing will make me money. I'm just going to give myself, I just want one segment.
Yep.
My goal is to get one segment within a week.
Exactly. Yep. Let's give it a stretch. Let's say 90 days, and a campaign out to those people and the reporting in and a discussion about how we're going to improve it.
Yeah.
Great. Fantastic. What a difference.
So that makes me think, I'm trying to think of the objections that people would have. And the first objection I hear customers saying or retailers saying is, but that means I'm going to have to write 10 different emails.
Dynamic content.
Okay, tell them what's
explaining what dynamic content is. It's one email that can have literally thousands of variables in it. So let's just say I'm a customer, you're not a customer of retail brand X. We're going to get completely different content in the same email. You don't need to create 50 different emails. You will create one email and you'll literally ask the system to say, if equals customer, send this. If equals non-customer, send that. One email, multiple offers, dynamic content. See you later.
Yeah, and this is where it comes down to knowledge equals power.
Yes.
And if you are sitting in your office, it doesn't matter if you've got one person working with you or 20 people working with you, or if you're sitting behind your computer or you're in your store and you're not getting out and about, this is what you're missing out on. You're taking the hard road for everything. Exactly. Because you just don't know any better.
100%. And this is like, for those guys who are thinking, but it takes so much time, I just want to put this image in your head. If time equals money, then automation can mean a difference. Because once you set up an automation, you've set that time, you've used that 8 hours or whatever it took you to set up that automation, and then you don't have to do it again. You have 8 hours multiplied back in your life. And I think that's a really important thing for us to start looking at as retailers, is how do we use our time effectively, and how do we multiply our time by things like automation or by things like what we call working groups. How do I grab people from multiple disciplines, pull them together in a group, say we've got 1 hour to achieve this thing, have tech, have finance, have creative, have a producer, to pull them all together and make, that 1 hour turns into 5 hours worth of work. So you can release something much quicker if you look at time differently.
Yeah. And it's all about mindset, right? It's just about looking at your business in a different way. And you don't get that if you're stagnant and it's just you sitting in your business with a couple of people or some VAs or a couple of staff, because it is your job as the owner of the business to actually do the innovation.
Pull your people together and ask them what they would do as well. You don't know, the ideas that you can get out of other people, again, don't be that one person who's coming up with all the ideas. Ask people, hey, define the problem, tell them, and then ask them how they would solve that problem. Then you're understanding what you're actually trying to achieve, and then you figure out the how.
Yeah, especially people who are front-facing for customers. So customer-facing, like the people who are on your checkouts, the people who are the sales assistants, they know what the customer's problems are.
Yeah, this fear of feedback is really stifling. It's like, I don't want to hear what I don't want to hear. If you don't want to hear it, if you don't hear it, then you don't know what the actual problem is. It's only the problem that exists in your head, and it might actually not be the problem you're thinking.
And it might even be a problem for your customers.
They might think you're crazy.
If it's not a problem for your customers, move on.
And that's what incremental innovation is. It's like, find out what the customers actually want solved and focus on that, not what you think needs to be done. It might not be a whole new product range that you need. Maybe the customers don't need that.
Yeah, maybe they love what you've already got.
Loyalty.
Yeah. All big circles back. Okay, so we'll finish up, but tell me maybe 2 things that you can recommend that people do within the next 7 days.
Okay.
Like, give them two jobs to do, 2 action items.
Job number 1 is go to your email database and find all of your customers in that database and separate them out.
Okay.
The second thing I want you to do is all the people that are on your database who have never converted with you, run a campaign to them, really kind of aggressive. And when I say aggressive, don't shout at them. I mean, like, an aggressive offer.
You haven't bought from us. Can you? Yeah.
Hey, why? Or like, here's $20 to go towards your first purchase when you spend over $50 or something. Do something you've never done before. Set up a series of those emails. So email 1, your second email, ask for feedback. Why haven't you purchased from us? You might think nobody's going to reply to that email. If you just say, we want to hear from you, just hit reply to this email and have it go to your inbox or somebody customer services inbox, you will get a countless amount of messages. And it might be, you're so aspirational, I can't afford you, blah, blah, blah. Hello, look at Afterpay. Yeah. Oh, did you know that we have Afterpay is one of the things that you can go to next. Like, all of these things that you get in this feedback, there's a next campaign that you run, which is, hey, these are all the things that we realized that you didn't know about us. Boom. Yeah. Conversion.
And the funny thing is, like you said, people are so scared about that feedback, but these are people who've signed up to be a customer.
So
the feedback that they're giving you is not usually going to be negative. And if it is, it's usually something you can fix.
Constructive.
Yeah.
Like, let's just be realistic. Some people are just dicks. They're just, sometimes that's just going to happen.
Yeah. There's always one.
Yeah, there's always one. Don't worry about them. Worry about the people that are constructive. They love you.
Yeah. All
Simple.
Right. I think that is an awesome way to finish up. So if people want to learn more about what you do, where can they find you?
Yep, so they can go to miacademytraining.com.au and you can book in for a 15-minute chat. Really happy to have a chat with anybody who's struggling with any of these things, or maybe not even struggling, maybe wants to make them better. Really happy to help.
Awesome. Thank you, Alita.
Thanks.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. You can find all of the show notes over at selinaknight.com. If you found something that you heard today particularly useful, I'd love it if you could leave me a review on iTunes or Stitcher. And of course, feel free to share this episode with someone that you think could benefit by listening to it. Want more retail biz strategies? You can watch the Bringing Business to Retail TV show, where each week I'll answer a question or provide you with a simple, actionable retail biz strategy that you can implement in your business right away. If you have a question or a guest, I'd love to hear from you. Drop my team an email at podcast@selinaknight.com, and I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great week.